All right, this is Ollie, and this is Ollie's Roadmap to Success. He is a wonderful dog today. His guardians say I'm not seeing his full personality. He's usually full of beans, but he is a very gentle dog. He's a little bit, his confidence level could be a little bit higher. He didn't go to puppy socialization class, and I think that really impacted it. He's around a lot of other dogs. We live just down the street from Jocelyn Dog Park, so I'm sure he goes there quite a bit. But it's really important to get your dog to puppy socialization class. So if you're watching this and you have a puppy, the sooner you get it in a puppy socialization class, the better. Make sure it's a good class. The good class will make sure that he's sized with other dogs the right size and energy level. We don't want to have him with bigger dogs or playing too rough, because that can create a negative experience. So I think a lot of his issues are his guardians really didn't have any rules in place, and they petted him so much that it wasn't really that important to him getting petted. All right, let's do it this way. I want you to stay here for the shot, though. Can you hang out with me a little bit? I'll give you a treat. It's like, deal. So the more that we pet him with a purpose, the more that he's going to engage in those sitting and laying down and doing those other things that we want him to do. So make sure that even if we just want to pet him ourselves, we still ask him to sit. If he's already sitting, we ask him to come and sit over here, or we ask him to lay down. So he has to change his state in order to get affection. Or prepay. He might come and start sitting in front of you saying, hey sucker, I'm sitting down, why don't you hook me up and scratch behind this ear? We want to do that as much as we can. Now we're going to pet him under the chin when he does that and just say, just sit, or just crash, or just come, whatever it is. Let me see. The other thing we went over was passive training. So passive training is basically narrating whatever the dog does. So every time the dog comes to us, we're going to pet him and say, come. A lot of us use the dog's name or the dog's command words in a negative capacity. When we're outside, the dog's playing in the backyard, we say, come, and then he comes inside. Well, he's done playing. Or the dog park, we say, come. Well, that represents the end of playing at the dog park. So the dog starts to associate come is something I don't want to do, because it means it's the buzzkill, it's the end of fun. So for passive training, what we do is we just simply reward him every time he does the thing we want him to do on his own. So every time he comes to us, as long as he doesn't jump up, but every time he comes to us, we're going to pet him and say come. Preferably under his chin to facilitate that nose up orientation. Yes, good boy. Every time he sits, we pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, we pet him and say crash. I have a command word for my dog to eat. The way I assigned it, I have 3 dogs. So I say grub, chow, and feast. When my middle dog's word is grub, the way I assigned it is every time I gave her permission to eat, I would say grub after she took her first bite. So to her, when she hears grub, there's food in her mouth, it means food. The other 2 dogs hear grub, there's no food in their mouth, so it doesn't mean anything to them. Passive training is slower, but it will, if you do it consistently, get in the habit of doing it, it's one of the easiest ways you can train your dog. Hang out, buddy, we're almost done. Let me see. So it's going to be really important for the guardians to start enforcing rules and boundaries. No more petting for no reason. We're going to pet him with a purpose. We're going to use passive training to reward him for desires, actions, and behaviors. But we're also going to enforce rules. One of the rules, I wouldn't say he's breaking because I invited him up, but is not being allowed to be on the furniture. The higher a dog sits, the more rank or status they have. Another rule would be the dog's not allowed to be on this carpet around the couch when a human is eating food here. The rest of the time he can come and go. But he can't come on here when a human's eating food. Also, if I'm sitting here like this, he shouldn't shove his way through. That's trying to force. I would disagree with that using the escalating consequences. Remember the escalating consequences. The first thing we do is hiss. Tss. Second thing was you stand up abruptly, turn to face him, keep pivoting, keep him in front of us until he's stationary, then take 2 steps backwards, wait 1 second, then go back to doing what you're doing. The third consequence is marching directly at him until he turns sideways or greater to you. At that point, we stop in place, put our feet together, and then we start pivoting. We go to the second consequence. Till he's stationary, and we take 2 steps backwards. The only time we wouldn't stop marching at him when he turns sideways is if he's inside a designated no dog zone. So at that point, we would just bump into him. Sorry, buddy, you got to wait just a minute longer. The fourth consequence is a leash timeout. Are you going to get all rambunctious?
I'm surprised he stayed that long.
Oh, well.
He does not like to be held.
Well, we're going to figure, and if he doesn't like to be held, this is the sort of thing you can do as well. If you want him to be more tactile, create a positive association like I did in the video above, the counterconditioning. Just feed him his kibble, have a dish over here, feed him 1 kibble at a time, and pet him while he's doing it. So he's getting something positive.
He's very mellow. He usually squirms.
I'm getting him a good day, but also I think you guys pet him so much that he just...
get off me.
Yeah, so it's kind of like having a needy partner. If your partner always has to be touching you, you're like, get some backbone.
Yeah.
So, well, I know that you're just showing affection to him, but by making him earn it by sitting or doing something like that, he's going to feel better about himself for it. Now, we want to say as little as possible when we're training him. If we have a crappy day, we come home, can you believe that woman cut me off in the 405 and it was the only lane, there's nobody ahead of her for miles and she still went super duper slow? That's healthy. But if I want to tell him to lay down, if his word is lay down, when he lays down, say, oh, what a good dog, you laid down. You're the smartest dog ever. He doesn't know what I mean. So he doesn't understand all those words. So when he lays down, I'm going to pet him and say crash. When he comes to me, just one word commands and try to make them fun commands. Something I didn't go over in the session is my dog's name is Quest, but I call him Rufus when he's doing something naughty. I have a naughty dog name. Now make it a name that's kind of funny. I have a lot of clients that are actually calling their dog Trump. But any name you want to use, if there's somebody you don't like in your life, then you can give it to them. All right, buddy. How about this? Yes. Imagine what motivation does. So this way, if you say his name, Ollie, he knows it's something good. If he hears Obadiah or whatever the word is that you name, then he knows that something bad, he did something wrong. So for my dog, Quest, if I say, if he's not doing something I want him to do, and I say Rufus, he immediately sits because he knows he's about to get in trouble. So having a naughty dog name helps separate. And that way, every time he hears Ollie, it's nothing but peaches and cream. Okay, go ahead, buddy. Bully stick. Go knock yourself out. It's like, do I have to stay with this guy? All right. Other rules: not being allowed in the kitchen won't be a problem because we're downstairs. It's downstairs. So he doesn't go downstairs. Having to sit before he goes in and out of a door. Yes. And start with whatever direction is more important. If you really want to go inside, start with him outside. So if you don't have a yard, we probably would start it with him inside to go outside. Let me see, not being allowed in the bed would fall in the same category as no furniture. And then having to sit and wait for permission to eat food would be another rule. Also look for ways to delay gratification. So when I get the dog to learn to sit at the door, then the next step is I go to the door and I have him on the leash. I open the door in a big movement. That attracts the dog to want to move forward. I say, no, sit. So I want to understand that just because the door is open doesn't mean you have permission to go out, buddy. Yes. Good boy. So now we're helping him delay gratification and helping him build self-restraint, and that will help him in a lot of other capacities. Now, on the walk, we added the special twist of the leash, which I have on him right now, and we're using the martingale collar. And so remember the 5 rules for a structured walk. First of all, we're going to give him a right side or a left side. So he always walks on the right or always walks on the left. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever's right for you. Don't worry about which direction traffic is coming and the rest of those things because that doesn't matter. So we want him to, so you see his tail's curling up. He really is not happy with this. So I'm just going to kind of do this guy. I'd like to keep him in the shot. Here, buddy. How about if I do one of these? So the first first thing I want to do is keep him, come here, buddy, on my right side or left side, whichever side we want. And the rule is that I want to keep my hand going straight down. That's rule number 2. If he gets in front of me, I start pulling back on the leash, I'm going to activate his opposition reflex. That little pull, he started pulling against me. So you never want to actually pull him into position. You want to lure him into position. And to get him to come, I like to use this hand motion because you see, I don't have anything in my hand, but from his perspective, because I'm holding my fingers up to protect my position, it looks like I have a treat, and then I can put him in a sit. Come on, buddy, we're filming. It looks better when you do it. There we go. Almost did it. I think he's a little bit odd because he was a little bit worried about why are you restraining me. So I'll let you go. Go ahead, buddy. So if I go in an arc over their head, they tilt up, and then eventually they put their butt down. Lower your hand, let him lick it off your hand, and then tickle him under his chin and just say the command word. All right, now I do need to demonstrate the 5 rules for a structured walk. Ollie, come. There we go. So for Ollie, do you walk on the right or left?
It doesn't, we don't have a preference.
Okay, so we're going to do it on the right for now, but you can make it left or right.
Yeah.
So what I do, this is a 4-foot leash. Now this is, if I have a 6-foot leash, I'm going to pull my arm way up here before it gets tense, so it slows down your timing. So I like a 4-foot leash because I want, and this is even too much leash. What I would do is you can wrap it around your whole palm like this. I call this choking up. Now if I'm listing over like this, instead of doing the whole palm, I might do 3 fingers, or 2 fingers, or 1 finger. Find a distance where it's comfortable. So now that when I'm correcting, this is all the movement that I need. So rule number 1, stay in your position, right or left side. His heel or his shoulder should align with my hip. If we let him get in front and I try to pull up, I'm activating his opposition reflex and he's going to pull forward. So when I correct, I'm going to go quickly up and then down. I'll relax it right away. So rule number 3 is to keep no tension on the line unless you're correcting him. Now, if he lags behind, I just keep going. The rig will get him to come with me. I don't pull him. I let my arm go dead and just keep going. Now, he doesn't like this at first, but he'll get used to this very quickly. All right. So rule number 4 is no stopping and sniffing. Now, be very careful, because I have some people say, you said I shouldn't let my dog sniff. That would be cruel. For a dog, they sniff the way that we see things. It's constant. So if I tell him to, but if he stops to sniff something and I stop, he's telling me what to do on the walk. So if he comes and sniffs it, he better get a good sniff in, but by the time I'm done, I'm walking by and he's coming along with me. And then if he does a really good job on the walk, he starts walking next to you in a heel, maybe 3/4 of the walk, you keep him in a heel position. The last part of the walk, you take the special twist of the leash away, then you let him sniff and have some fun for him. So if you eat your meat, you get a dessert of being able to sniff around. All right, rule number 5, one of the rules is keep your arm, like I said, relaxed. Don't go like this. The last rule is to, I think it's number 5, is to not let him mark. Now, this is a little bit different. I fly around the country fixing dog problems. I find it interesting that there are different problems in different geographic locations. We're in Los Angeles, specifically Santa Monica. Almost no one has a yard here. Now, fortunately for his guardians, they live literally down the street from a dog park. But sit. A little passive training. For him, if he pees on every vertical surface, now he's probably not old enough, he's probably not lifting the leg yet, it'll come if he hasn't done it already.
He doesn't.
But when he starts peeing on things, he's claiming territory. That's him asserting himself as a leader. So when I go out on a walk, I say, go ahead, right here, business, this is the word I use. And he gets to go potty. If he doesn't go potty, the rest of the walk, we do not let him potty. Now, if he wants to poop, I let him poop wherever he wants. That's different. But if he lifts his leg, he's peeing, he's marking. It's like a gangbanger spray painting. This is this gang's block. This is this gang's territory, so on and so forth. And it's him assuming a leadership role. And also, if we let him walk in front of us, makes him more reactive to the people around him. If we keep him next to us, we're in the leadership position. That reduces a lot of responsibility. That helps him feel a lot more relaxed and content, and he doesn't have to stress about a lot of things. He is, because he didn't go to puppy class, he has some anxiety. He's not an anxious dog, but he could do better. And so the video that I talked about above about the counterconditioning with kids is going to go a long ways towards helping him. Using the structured walk with the martingale with a special twisted leash is going to make walking him a lot more enjoyable because he's not all over the place. You're not pulling him the whole 9 yards. Let me see. Last couple things. Feeding him out. Right now the Guardians have one of the quick feeders, so it looks like a maze. Because when he was a puppy, he ate super fast. Now he doesn't eat very fast. There you go. And so what I like to do is feed dogs out of treat dispensing toys. PetSafe has one that's a moo ball. It's a ball about the size of a tennis ball. It's got a hole. It's got 4 little tabs around the hole inside it to keep the kibble from coming out too much. So if your dog loses interest, pull one of those tabs off. So you want it coming out good enough so that he gets a reward, but now he has to work for his food, and eating is a very important activity for dogs. So if you can put him in a room with 2 or 3 of these different toys, I have one that's like a dumbbell, so he has to do end over end to problem solve to get it out of there. One's the size of, not the size, but it looks like a golf ball that's this big. He's got to nudge it with his nose. Another one is a star. He's got to spin it around. There's a little tray. When he spins it, he can get some kibble underneath it. So this helps him slow down eating. If your dog eats too fast, it's a great way to slow him down and make sure he doesn't throw things up. And also makes chewing toys much, much, much more interesting because the toys distribute food. When I chew the couch cushion, it's just foam. I can't eat the foam. It feels good to chew things for dogs. Remember, if he's licking something, it's a precursor to chewing it. Now, he's already teethed. One of the things I like to do is get the dogs used to eating carrots. Carrots ward off a type of cancer that your dog can get. And so what I do is I get real carrots, and every once in a while I just cut the end off the carrot and I just give it to him. I don't peel it. He'll sit down and eat it, and there's a little sugar in the carrots, and it's dense, so it gives him something to chew. Dogs love to chew things, especially when they're puppies, to set their teeth, and just kind of, it's a way of kind of passing time. And so for the dog, if we give him something healthy to eat, that's great. That'll help with that. Now, if you're feeding him out of a bowl still, what I would do is go get some shredded carrots, or get a carrot and kind of peel it, and then put some of those shreds in with his food. At first just 2 or 3, then maybe 6, then 8. So you want to gradually get him to develop an appetite for those. You might want to try a carrot. Some dogs will just sit down and eat the carrot right away. But if he doesn't, give him just little shreds. And work him up to that point. But this way, you're giving him something good that he can eat. One of the things the Guardians did was they were letting him chew on some inappropriate items. I think a pen was one of the items. He can't tell the difference between that and a laser or a knife or other things. And so we don't let the dog chew on anything that's not an acceptable dog toy. And make sure the dog has plenty of appropriate dog toys. In every room there should be a basket full of dog toys. Your dog can chew what you provide for him, or he can chew what he wants to eat. And I promise you he has more expensive taste when it comes to chew toys than you will have. So provide him with a lot of options to keep him out of trouble. Another thing, because he's a puppy, on Quest Ed section of my website, I talk about setting up a puppy playroom. For a puppy playroom is great, but this is Santa Monica. Real estate's a little bit more expensive than it is in Nebraska. So we don't have the ability to do that, but what I would do is start limiting his access to the whole house. Because while we were sitting in here talking, he walked over into the other room, grabbed a bundle of toilet paper, and promptly shredded it. So it feels good to him. That's a fun thing to do. But he did it because he was unsupervised. When we bring a baby into our home, we don't let the baby out of our sight. We keep them supervised. You need to do the same thing for him. So you might want to invest in one of those gates that you can actually move and put to whatever room you're in. So that way, you can leave the doors open and you get good circulation. But that way he's in your purview. You can see him and you can disagree with him using the escalating consequences before he does the wrong thing. I also am a big proponent of setting a dog up to help them practice and teach them the behaviors we want them to have. So if he likes to shred toilet paper, I would bring a roll of toilet paper and I would unroll. I actually have one here, so I can actually do this. I would do this. Let's do it the right way. I mean, the movement is hard for dogs. And then I kind of give him a little bit of this, and you can see he's not into it, but I can kind of do these sort of things, and that's going to make him very interested in it. Now, we've taught him a leave it exercise. But if we do this, the more we do this and give him access to doing it and then correct him when he does the wrong thing, we can teach him this is not to be chewed on. But only do this when you have time to supervise him. If you're going to be doing this and something else, that's not the time to do it. Basically, one of the things I always tell my clients, and really what I do to fix dog problems, I'm just going to pull this off. What I do when I have a dog that has a behavior problem is I ask myself, have I taught the dog how it's supposed to behave? We're asking dogs to live in our world. It's our responsibility to teach them how to behave. When we're kids, our moms teach us how to have table manners. They don't teach it all at once. We teach one step at a time. When we have that step, then we move on and teach the next step. We practice that one step over and over until we have it. And once we practice all the steps individually, then we can do the whole thing, but it'll at slow motion speed, then at half speed, then at full speed. And so it's the same sort of thing. Recreate a situation where your dog fails behavior-wise. Play with the elements. Maybe pull a couple elements away. Make it easy for him to do it. Slow down the speed. Turn down the volume. Lower the light. Increase the distance. Put your dog in a position where it can succeed. Now, something else we can do is if we're going to have some kids come over and we know he's skittish with kids, we might take him to doggy daycare. Dogs sleep 17 hours a day. If you take him to doggy daycare for 8 hours, you've eclipsed that 7 hours, or 7 hours that he should be awake. Now when he comes home, you'll have this energy. Yeah. I have a Dalmatian, and he's a puppy. He's a 1-year-old, 1.5. I take him to people's houses, like, man, he is just such a chill dog. He is now. If I wouldn't have taken him to daycare, he would go crazy. Another thing I do is I do dog skiing. Well, he'd be a great one for this. I put rollerblades on. I put a harness on the dog, and I have him pull me from Santa Monica to Venice, back all the way past the pier, and then back to Strand Street. So he gets to pull and run as much as he wants. I call it dog skiing. It's a lot of fun. I think I ended up pinching some nerves in my shoulder, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to burn energy because he gets to run as much and as fast as he wants. When he stops pulling, that's when you turn around and propel yourself back home. After a while, you'll know the route. I could take my dog on a 4-mile route in about 28 minutes. Wow. It is a lot faster. Walking is not a very efficient way to burn your dog's energy. So I would look into feeding him some out of dog toys. If you go to Quest Ed, dogtownproblems.com/quest, there'll be a bunch of posts about puppy raising. If you look one about feeding your dog can raise your dog's intelligence, it'll have links to these dog toys where you can buy these on Amazon. I'd get about 3 or 4 different ones and feed him out of those for about 2 months, get him used to chewing on toys rather than the couch or our ottoman and other things. Now, when we actually go back to eating in a bowl, we should eat first. We eat something, a chip or a cracker, in 5 or more bites, and then we give the dog permission to eat. When he takes his first bite, we say grub, chow, feast, supper, whatever the word is that you want to use, and for a month or 2. And then after a while, he understands when I hear supper, that means I get permission to eat. But he gets to see the humans eat first, which has more respect for them as authority figures because they have more eating privileges. Eating is one of the most important activities for dogs. If you add a tiny bit of structure to it, you're gonna do it every day, multiple times a day. I feed my dogs 3 times a day. You should feed your dog a minimum of 2 times a day. Otherwise, they only eat once. They eat so much their stomach stretches, and later on in life, they need to eat a lot more to feel full. So he's a little bit old for it, but I would go to at least 2 times a day. And I put the food in the bowl. I eat something first, and I give him permission to eat. And he has 3 minutes to eat at that point. If he doesn't walk over the bowl, after 3 minutes, I pick up the bowl, I dump the food out, I put the empty bowl back down, and he doesn't eat again until the next meal. Now, if he's over there eating, he takes a couple bites and walks away, I pick up the bowl and dump it then. So we're not going to leave food in the bowl. That's what's called free feeding, and then the dog eats whenever he wants. You're not going to have regularity when it comes to potty training. He's going to eat before you. He's going to get a lot of the wrong interpretations. And as he has developed an issue, which a lot of dogs do with this, they just don't have much motivation to eat. My dogs, anytime I put food down, they're ready to eat because they only get it those certain periods of time. And if they don't, it goes away and the empty bowl is down there. Okay, that's the feeding thing. Sitting at the door would be another rule I think I talked about. If the guardians have any questions, I want you to call me. Specifically, I'd like you to text me. I'm traveling around the country, so I'm not always getting a voicemail. Sometimes I'll leave it unread until I'm at my office. But if you shoot me a text, I'll get it right away, especially if you text me a picture of Ollie. Hey, Ollie ate my shoes. What do I do? Usually I can help with a quick phone call. I don't charge for that, and I want you to call. I don't care if it's a minute after I walk out this door or if it's 5 years after I walk out this door. Make sure you call and text me. I can only help you if you let me know there's a problem. Okay, that's Ollie's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.